at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker.
And I'm Karina Garcia.
A Jackson County grand jury has indicted the 23-year-old man accused of murdering Edna cheerleader Lisbeth Medina. He's
now indicted on charges of capital murder. 25 News Now weekend anchor Adam Seibel has the details.
The indictment says Rafael Govea Romero intentionally caused the death of Lisbeth Medina while in the course of committing or attempting to commit burglary, robbery, or aggravated sexual assault. The indictment accuses Romero of causing Lisbeth Medina's head to strike a firm surface. It accuses him of striking her head with, quote, a hard object and repeatedly stabbing or cutting Lisbeth with a sharp object or edged weapon. Romero had overstayed a work visa and was arrested 5 days after 16-year-old Lisbeth was found dead in her Edna apartment. Lisbeth's phone was active in the days following her death, and information from her phone led police to Schulenburg, which is where Romero was taken into custody. Authorities say he was found to have Lisbeth's wallet. Lisbeth's mother tells us this evening that she is happy with the work that the Edna Police Department and prosecutors are doing, and that with this recent indictment, it can put an end to any speculations or rumors surrounding this case. Romero's at the Jackson County Jail with bond set at $2 million. Due to his immigration status, there is a hold and he is unable to post bond. No word yet if the district attorney plans to pursue the death penalty in this case. Don, Karina, back to you.
Adam, thank you. 2 people suffered minor injuries after a 2-vehicle wreck in Victoria Wednesday night. The wreck was at 5903 Houston Highway. It happened shortly before 9 p.m., or rather 8 p.m. The victims were sent to area hospitals as a precaution, and officials say no one was seriously hurt.
A 17-year-old suspect was taken into custody by Victoria County Sheriff's deputies today. Manuel Nava is charged with riot participation. He is in the Victoria County Jail in lieu of $40,000 bond. Louise ISD Superintendent Garth Oliver says he was fired. Oliver told the El Campo Leader News Louise ISD Board President Mark Bain and a trustee came to his office last Friday and told him he was fired. Oliver said he was told his last day would be Friday, February 16th. Bain said he cannot discuss personnel issues due to confidentiality. Oliver has 2.5 years left on his contract.
Governor Greg Abbott is expected in Victoria tomorrow to support Jeff Bouknight for the District 30 House seat. The event begins at 10:30 a.m. at the Victoria College Emerging Technology Complex located at 7403 Lone Tree Road. The event with Governor Abbott is open to the public, but those who want to attend need to RSVP. Come to our website crossroadstoday.com for that link to RSVP. Now, Representative Jeannie Morrison announced she was not running for re-election back in December of 2023.
Since that announcement, 4 Republican candidates have thrown their names into the hat for District 30. 25 News Now reporter Darius McCormick talked with 2 of the candidates.
Brett Baldwin and A.J. Louderback are 2 of the 4 Republican candidates in the race for District 30. When candidates run for office, they want to make a change. We asked Baldwin and Louderback what changes they would make if elected.
I definitely want to make sure that we get our state standards up higher so we attract other companies to come here and, more importantly, get our future students as well as the current ones ready for the workforce. And
I want to see a return to conservative values. I want to see, I want to address the culture change that's going on in Texas, in our district.
They also explained how they would make these changes happen in their potential terms.
Work collaboratively with the folks that are in leadership there, making sure that they understand what needs to be done. Our government in Austin looks at the bigger metropolitan areas and they make laws, and unfortunately those laws don't always do well for this area.
Well, I'm a known entity there. I wouldn't go into the Texas House being an unknown part. So I believe I'll have some immediate influence and some immediate impact in the Texas House.
Baldwin says his love for Christ, experience in business, and knowledge of the area makes him the best candidate.
I've worked for 3 international companies around the world, so I have a good experience and unique qualities that I can interface and work together and collaboratively find solutions.
Louderback says his law enforcement experience sets him apart from the other candidates.
My 5 terms as a Texas sheriff, my 10 sessions that I've worked religiously on, my border policies, my border work, for many, many years, sets me apart.
We've reached out to Vanessa Hicks Calloway and Jeff Bouknight. We plan to speak to them soon. Darius McCormick, KVU TV, 25 News Now.
The National Weather Service says Hallettsville was not hit by a tornado last Friday night. Instead, Hallettsville was hit by a microburst straight-line wind during a thunderstorm. The area of damage was about a mile wide for about 7 miles. This kind of damage is not uncommon with a strong line of thunderstorms that was moving through central Lavaca County last Friday night. And now let's take a first look at your forecast with First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Pettis. At times today it was windy, but not like it was last Friday night.
Yeah, well, last Friday that was an exception. Today we're getting a stronger sea breeze. It got a little bit about 35 miles an hour this afternoon, and that's what's going to happen the next of the day because this is the big monster storm. Well, it's now moving up, and so the winds are coming up to replace it. The frontal system, as I said, is already in Texas. It'll be slowing down, but it's not a huge front. It will give us a little bit of rain over the weekend. We'll tell you how much rain I expect to have over the weekend and what next weekend will hold as well. All that coming up in just a moment. Stay tuned.
Mac, thank you. Senate Republicans have blocked a bipartisan border package, ruining months of negotiations between the two parties on legislation intended to cut down record numbers of illegal border crossings.
The vote came as most Republicans said they would vote against the actual legislation, which included aid to Ukraine and Israel.
It's a political power struggle in a deeply divided government. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer exasperated with congressional Republicans, accusing them of sabotaging border solutions.
America will know who is for fixing the border and who is not.
The vote to advance the border bill, which includes $20 billion in border security, something Republicans had fought for, and billions in aid for Ukraine and Israel, failed on the Senate floor, with the majority of Republicans voting against it. Schumer also offering up a second vote just on foreign aid. The border bill, as expected, was doomed after former President Trump and House Speaker Mike Johnson came out against it. For his part, Speaker Johnson doing damage control today after rushing an Israel aid bill and then rushing out of the Capitol last night after failing to get enough votes even from his own party.
We live in a time of divided government. We have a razor-thin margin here, and every vote counts.
The GOP speaker also failing to grab enough votes to impeach Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas over the border issues.
Yeah, on impeachment, last night was a setback, but democracy is messy.
Mayorkas at a Super Bowl security briefing today urged Congress to act on funding border security instead of trying to impeach him.
The allegations are baseless, and I'm focused on the work, which was what brings me to Las Vegas today.
Democrats call the effort politically motivated. Still, Johnson has vowed to bring up another impeachment vote on Mayorkas as soon as next week. Em Nguyen, ABC News, Washington.
Here's your viewer poll tonight. You can scan that QR code on your screen to vote now. The question is, how would you rate the effectiveness of Congress in addressing the current border crisis? Very effective, somewhat effective, not very effective, or not effective at all. According to our results tonight, it looks like 97% voted for not effective at all.
We thank you for voting. Austin police now say a stabbing near the University of Texas campus meets the definition of a hate crime. A 23-year-old Palestinian American, Zachariah Dorr, is recovering in the hospital after being stabbed Sunday night. 36-year-old Burt Baker was arrested, charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Dorr lives in Arlington. He was only in Austin for a demonstration on Sunday that called for a ceasefire in Gaza.
A lawsuit against an Oklahoma hotel chain is now filed in connection to a sex trafficking case. The case centers around an incident involving a 15-year-old girl who disappeared from a Dallas Mavericks game. Investigators say she was drugged and brought to an Oklahoma City hotel for 10 days before officers rescued her. The lawsuit outlines how attorneys believe the situation could have been prevented and says hotel management ignored the red flags when the 15-year-old girl arrived at that hotel. In Fort Worth, 2 firefighters are still hospitalized. They were trapped inside a fire truck that rolled over while responding to an overnight call Tuesday. KXAS reports one of the firefighters is in critical but stable condition. Authorities say the driver of the fire engine lost control of the vehicle and the engine rolled over, leaving 2 of the 4 firefighters trapped inside. One of the firefighters was expected to have surgery today.
Attorney General Ken Paxton's legal team is asking a Harris County District Judge to dismiss his securities fraud charges. KXAN reports Paxton claims his right to a speedy trial has been violated in the case that has gone on for more than 8 years. His team filed a motion to dismiss Paxton's indictments on Tuesday. That was the deadline for pre-trial motions. Paxton is facing 2 felony indictments. That case has been delayed since 2015. The trial is currently set for April 15th. Here's some of the top headlines you can read in the Port Lavaca Wave. A former grocery store is being demolished due to increased taxes. And the Calhoun County Commissioner's Court has taken steps towards the creation of a waste transfer station and physical therapy room. You can read these stories and more at theportlavacawave.com. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell so when you're on YouTube you can see Crossroads Today. What a deal. And stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 10. A search is underway for 5 missing Marines after their helicopter went down.
Also ahead, Texas State University offering free Narcan as they address the opioid crisis.
Today near Philadelphia. 2 officers were shot and then a house went up in flames. Officers responded to an 11-year-old girl being shot this afternoon. When officers arrived, a shooter inside a home opened fire on them. Both officers were hurt and went to a hospital. As of now, they are in stable condition. The house then caught fire, and fire crews were unable to assist immediately due to the ongoing threat from the gunman. The conditions of the suspect or anyone inside, including the child who was reported wounded, remains unclear. An urgent search is underway for 5 missing Marines after their helicopter went down. First responders finding the chopper so far, no sign of the Marines.
The crew was headed to San Diego from Nevada during that dangerous storm.
New video of search and rescue crews looking for those 5 Marines who went missing after their military helicopter went down during a winter storm.
They lost signal from one of their aircraft in the Pine Valley area. If you're able to start that way and check the area.
The CH-53E Super Stallion helicopter was flying from Nevada to San Diego during a routine trip, was reported overdue Tuesday night. On Wednesday, a search crew finding the chopper around 9 a.m. local time. The crew flying during dangerous weather that slammed the west with snow, low visibility, and gusty winds, making it difficult for search crews to find them.
It's muddy, steep terrain. It's snowing out, so any of our vehicles that are going out there have a chance of getting stuck.
Super Stallion, described as a workhorse for the Marines for more than 30 years, used to move troops and equipment capable of carrying up to 55 people. President Biden has been made aware of the incident. The crash comes after a series of deadly military accidents. An Osprey crashing into the waters off Japan back in November, killing 8 service members. And 19 service members died in 5 separate helicopter crashes in 2023. And it is still unclear what may have caused the crash. Tim Pulliam, ABC News, Los Angeles.
The mother of a teenager killed at a Mississippi poultry processing plant is taking legal action. A wrongful death lawsuit was filed on behalf of the death of a 16-year-old girl, or rather a 16-year-old. He was killed by a machine malfunction at the Mar-Jac poultry plant in Hattiesburg in July of 2023. The lawsuit says the facility was aware the plant was not following safety regulations. During the investigation, authorities found numerous violations and proposed a $1,200,000 fine. So far, no comment from the company.
Crews started clearing debris from the street in front of the Sandman Hotel. WFAA reports this comes a day after Fort Worth issued a permit for the work and nearly a month after an explosion ripped a hole in the historic building and injured nearly 24 people. Authorities say moving chunks of rebar and concrete from the hotel will help investigators find out what caused the blast. 9 lawsuits were filed by hotel workers and guests. The opioid overdose reversing drug naloxone, or Narcan, is now available for free at Texas State University's San Marcos and Round Rock campuses. KXAN reports university faculty, staff, and students can access the medication at 3 locations across the San Marcos campus. Those affiliated with the university can request up to 2 doses of the medication weekly and are not required to provide identifying information to receive it.
Here's a look at some of the top headlines you'll find in the Cuero Record. Public school teacher Tanya Lloyd runs for Texas Congressional District 27. And a cyber criminal was sentenced to 5 years in prison for money laundering. Read these stories and more at DeWittCountyToday.com.
Well, good evening, everybody. We're looking at 63 degrees, and you know what? It's not going to get maybe down to 60 tonight. That's not exactly February temperatures. We managed to get up to 72 this afternoon. Of course, this morning we were at 43. Tonight we're going to be at 60. And the reason is the south wind has kicked in, brought in the warm air. Our temperatures in the daytimes are going to get even warmer. We'll talk about that and about the weekend rain. All that coming up in a moment. Well, good evening, everyone. That monster storm that was on the West Coast for the last couple of days, well, the frontal system is now in West Texas, believe it or not, but it's not anywhere near the storm it was back then. In fact, the storm center is moving up, and we're just getting the tail end of that front. Nonetheless, in Amarillo and Lubbock and all the way down to almost to Midland, they got some shower activity today, and all of the desert Southwest is rather stormy. In fact, they're getting rain showers, snow showers, fairly gusty winds, and guess what? There's one more little storm pocket here. It's a low that's coming through that area, producing more precipitation tonight and tomorrow in LA, like they needed it. For us here in the Crossroads, we're only looking at one last flood warning. That's, of course, the Guadalupe River down toward the Bloomington area. Now, you're thinking, okay, that was from last week's rain. Can you believe it? But it's been rather persistent, and in fact, it dropped very slowly. I don't know why. Usually they go up and then they come down, but this, as you can see, we're right about here. As a result, we're looking for a downtrend, and it'll be getting back into its banks pretty soon, in the next day or so. So that's good. And the weekend rain that I'm looking at is not a huge event. Tonight, getting down to about 60 degrees. That's our low temperature. Big difference from this morning. And then tomorrow afternoon, 72, 74 here and there. All of this because the south wind is pumping up that Gulf air. Now, the storm itself is moved way north, so the frontal system is not, shall we say, as vigorous, and as a result, our rain activity is going to be probably less than half an inch of rain for Saturday and Sunday. So not a huge event, however, it will be a little on the damp side. Here's what I mean when the storm is sort of separating. The low really is the center of the storm. It's like the eye of the hurricane, okay? That low was what caused the violent weather here, but now that low is moving north. And in fact, the frontal system is losing a lot of its energy or its oomph. And you can see that we get Thursday, we get the frontal system in central Texas, but the storm is way up there in Canada. This is that secondary storm, that secondary low that came through. That one's going to be very interesting because we have to wait for it to sort of push this front through to get the little bit of rain. But look at that. Snow is expected Saturday night and Sunday up in Amarillo. Okay, no, it's not coming in this way, and it's not going to get much colder, but we will get a backflow. We will get a northwest wind behind that, and that will cool us down a little bit as we get into next week. So you might need a sweater next week. How about that? Over the next day or so, we're looking for cloudy skies and temperatures getting to the mid-70s, 73 down at the coast. Cuero inland, we're looking for a high of 72, but you'll see quite a bit of cloud cover. It's not going to be a sunny day, but it'll be rather warm and kind of humid as well. So we've got 72, 74. Saturday's not a bad looking day, but late at night we'll have that 30% chance. And then as the front passes, we'll pick up the northwest wind and it'll be getting cooler. But Sunday's when we get the best chance for any rain, and then get a load of this. High temperature of 60, 62, 68, overnight lows in the 30s and 40s. It might actually feel like February. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Please scan that, put Crossroads Today on your phone. Big signing day in the Crossroads, right, Zach?
That's right, Mac. Lots of local athletes put their name on the dotted line tonight. I'll have that in sports. National Signing Day, lots of athletes on the Crossroads committing to colleges, and we're going to start out in Yoakum. The Bulldogs had 2 athletes sign. They are Keon Williams and Kadarius Price. Keon will be going to Colorado Mesa to play football. He is a defensive back, and Kadarius Price will be a 2-sport athlete. Not only is he playing football, but he's also running track at Texas College. Both guys seeing a dream come true.
I've been dreaming about this since I was a little kid, and it's just always been a dream for me to push myself to get to this level and go bigger once in life.
It means a lot. Me and my family have been working all my life for this, and it's overwhelming right now. It's very, very emotional before signing that paper.
Both of those guys also excited to represent the Yoakum community at their respective colleges. Coach Bo Robinson says both of them will go wherever they want to, and they'll do it fast. Here in Victoria, familiar name, Kamari Montgomery officially committing to Eastern New Mexico University. He will join his teammate, DeAndre Fillmore, from last year. Kamari just came off a year in which he rushed for 1,900 yards, and he is thankful for what the Warriors program taught him over his last 4 years.
Just a blessing, you know. I'm happy to have this opportunity. A lot of days, you know, where you just don't want to work out, but you just got to push yourself. I definitely built a family over here. They just teach you how to be disciplined, how to lead others and all.
Kamari was team MVP this past season. Last year, his teammate at Eastern New Mexico University, that was DeAndre Fillmore, was also the MVP for West. So those guys following in each other's footsteps. Out in Hallettsville, you can add to the list of Aggies from the Crossroads, and this is Lane Gerke. Safe to say his coaches and community think very highly of him.
It wouldn't surprise me if you were running down in number 12 one of these days and making tackles. So, Lane, happy for you, love you, and proud of you. Really am. Really am.
So wearing number 12 at Texas A&M, that's no small deal. Coach Levi Montgomery says Lane Gerke's character is so high that he may don that number one day, calling him, quote, an Aggie through and through. There was also lots of Gerke merch to go around. They had custom towels, shirts, and of course he had the entire team and family show up to support him. Gerke was a two-way star for the Brahmas. He will be a defensive back in College Station. Cuero had a very busy signing day, 5 athletes signing, all for football. Hakeem Anderson attending Southwestern Assemblies of God University. Dalen Gibbs going to Hardin-Simmons. Star tight end Nathan Lucien, he's going to UT Rio Grande Valley, and Brant Potek joining Dalen and is also going to Hardin-Simmons. The 5th football player, well, that's Addie Chalek. She is going to Williams Woods for flag football. She just participated in the flag football tournament during the Pro Bowl games, was on ESPN last week with the game-winning touchdown. And in Edna, Tyson Owens, very athletic defensive back for the Cowboys, taking his talents to the Javelinas at Texas A&M Kingsville. Owens was a part of some great Edna teams who just made back-to-back state semifinals. He thanked everyone who helped him reach this point in his life. One of the coolest stories of the year, this one out on the hardwood, the Bloomington Bobcat program and their incredible turnaround athletics-wise, period, and the girls basketball team already having clinched a playoff spot. They got to celebrate senior night last night. Kinsey and Kylie Proctor, as well as Haley Gardner and Diana Reyes. These girls have been a big part of Bloomington's amazing turnaround out on the hardwood. Thank you, Miss Carrie Gonzalez, for helping me cover these girls this year and sending these videos in. Their journey does not end. They have a tiebreaker this Friday trying to get 3rd place in the district. Well, that is it for your sports. Don and Karina, back to you.
Thanks, Zach, and stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 10, we're going to take a last look at your weather. Plus, an animal shelter in Iowa holds a Valentine's Day-based fundraiser.
Into custody today after he climbed to the top of the Sphere in Las Vegas. Video captured the person taking steps across the top before he appeared to climb back down. Emergency vehicles responded to the scene and people were asked to avoid the area as road closures were expected. An image of a napping polar bear curled up on an iceberg is the winner of this year's Wildlife Photographer of the Year People's Choice Award. It's called Ice Bed. A British amateur photographer captured the image off a Norway archipelago. More than 75,000 people voted in the competition. In addition to the winner, there are 4 finalists. All 5 images will be exhibited at the Natural History Museum in London through June 30th. Now, you had to get the right time, you had to get the right place, the right things, and make sure don't poke the bear.
Don't poke that bear.
No.
Pretty amazing. For a while, I saw that earlier, and I thought, that's got to be doctored up. That can't be
a painting, a sketch.
It's a painting or something.
No,
but,
about that.
It's terrific. It's a terrific shot.
We're all right there in nature.
How can a bear live in that environment? Amazing.
It's unbearable for some.
It is. Well, folks, the next couple of days are going to be warm and humid, getting up to the mid-70s. The weekend rain is mostly on Sunday. I wouldn't expect it to be more than a quarter to a half an inch of rain. So just a little rain, nothing severe. And then it gets cooler for next week. We'll have highs only in the 60s. Might actually wear your jacket or your winter coat, Karina.
Alrighty, thank you, Mac. Now you can spread a little love next week, regardless on your stance on Valentine's Day. An animal shelter in Iowa has a fundraiser going through February 14th. For a $5 donation, people can share exactly how they feel about the holiday. Those who think love stinks can enter the name of the heartbreaker on a piece of paper to be placed in a cat litter box. And there's also a Be Mine option, which will be a treat for a future pet.
We have a lot of animals in the shelter right now. We are at full capacity and have been for a long time here. So hoping that this not only brings funds in, but also gets some eyes on the animals that we do have who are ready to go to their forever homes.
All of the money raised will fund the Humane Society's general operations. All righty, that's
Help
so
them out
cute.
and show you have a heart.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's amazing. Valentine's Day is now controversial. Who would have thought?
Well, thank you for joining us for 25 News Now at 10.
Joining Carolina Astorine, meteorologist Parker Cox. 25 News Now, sunrise starting at 5 a.m. Good night, everybody.